Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Are you tired of the same old blah, 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 blah from the media? Do you like unfiltered commentary? Would you like to go back to the days when our rights meant something? Well, you've come to the right place, Crisco's Corner. The fight to get back the ideals of our founders will be long and hard. Please support the channel by subscribing. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back to Crisco's Corner. From The Intercept, this is very, very disturbing what's happening. Let me explain. Let's read the story. FBI seized congressional cell phone records related to Capitol attack. When hours of storming the Capitol on January 6th, the FBI began securing thousands of phone and electronic recordings connected to people at the scene of the rioting, including some related to members of Congress, raising potential thorny legal questions. You think? Using special emergency powers and other measures. That already sounds bad. Remember the old days when we had a real constitution? We needed a warrant to get these things? Not anymore, unless you go to a FISA court and it's secret. I was against the Patriot Act when it came out because of potential misuse. And here we are. Remember they spied on the Trump campaign? Hate or love Donald Trump. They shouldn't have done it. It was illegal. And I'm surprised nobody went to jail. And I'm surprised they didn't get sued. Frankly, I tip my hat to Donald Trump in a way because he's got the best lawyers in the world. He should have sued the hell out of them. But he let it go. The FBI has collected reams of private telephone or cell phone data and communications that go beyond the videos that rioters shared widely on social media, according to two sources with knowledge of the collection effort. I don't like anonymous sources as a rule. If you got two of them, 2 times 0 is still 0, but let's read on. In the hours and days after the Capitol riot, the FBI relied in some cases on emergency orders that do not require court authorization. Ding, 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 ding. The alarm bell should be going off. Goes against the Constitution right away. Do not require court authorization in order to quickly secure actual communications from people who are identified at the crime scene. You can get a court order in 5 minutes. They do it on the phone all the time. Investigators have also relied on data dumps from cell phone towers in the area to provide a map of who was there, allowing them to trace call records, but not content from the cell phones. The cell phone data includes many records from members of Congress and staff members who were at the Capitol that day to certify President Joe Biden's victory. The FBI is searching cell towers and phones, pinging off cell sites in the area to determine the visitors to the Capitol, a recently retired senior FBI official told The Intercept. The data is also being used to map links between suspects, which include members of Congress, they also said. Ding, 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 ding. Bad, bad, bad. Let's read on. Capitol Police are reporting investigating whether lawmakers helped rioters gain access to the Capitol, as several Democrats have alleged they did, though Republicans officials deny this. No kidding, because it didn't. The Justice Department has publicly said that its task force includes senior public corruption officials. That involvement indicates a focus on public officials, i.e., Capitol Police and member of Congress, the retired FBI official said. In recent years, the FBI has tread lightly in seeking any records of member of Congress due to protections on the Constitution's speech or debate clause. Yeah, do you think? The Constitution's getting holes in it, folks. This is a dark road we're going down. I'm telling you, once they go through government people and they use law enforcement at the federal and state levels to go after their political rivals, what makes you think that the average person is protected if they are not. Whether you hate Donald Trump or love Donald Trump, what he said a few years back, and I wouldn't exactly call him the most articulate, intellectual thinker, but he said something that's incredibly profound. They're not after me. They're after you, and I'm just in the way. Looks like that's true now. Or debate clause, which shields the legislative work of Congress from executive branch interference. Yeah, so that way one branch can't pound the other one. They're supposed to be co-equal branches and checks and balances. The legal minefield grew out of a 2007 corruption case against William Jefferson, Democrat, Louisiana, when a appeals court ruled the FBI had improperly seized material from his congressional office. And here's something that should ring alarm bells, too. This is a senator from Rhode Island, Senator Whitehouse, not exactly what I would call a flaming conservative. Sheldon Whitehouse, Republican, Rhode Island, released a statement warning against the Justice Department getting involved in the investigation of the attack, at least regarding members of Congress. Asserting that the Senate would oversee the matter, asked to elaborate, Whitehouse, a former federal prosecutor. Okay, he's got some street cred. How much? I don't know that much about him, but he's got some. Told The Intercept, separation of powers principles generally, and the speech and debate clause particularly restrict the executive branch's ability to investigate members of Congress. That's why the Constitution puts the houses of Congress in charge of disciplining their members. Granted, they might not do a great job, but it's way better than the other branch of government. Checks and balances, they stand separate. In the case of the January 6th insurrection, I've asked the Senate Ethics Committee to take a hard look at certain members' behavior, including whether they coordinated or conspired with, aided and abetted, or gave aid and comfort to the insurrectionists. Excuse me while I take a drink of English breakfast tea out of my leftist tears mug from the Daily Wire. Thanks, Ben Shapiro. Good mug, too. Those questions demand answers, and the Senate Ethics Committee has a job to answer them. It's not clear whether the collection of cell phone records of members of Congress on the day of the riots might conflict with that protection because there is far less legal protection for non-content data. And they go through the law expert, Michael Stern. No, there's an institutional concern here. We can't let the FBI come in and rush shot over everything, Stern said. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Unbelievable. The Justice Department has used these and other hybrid court cases to collect actual content from cell phones, like text messages and other communications in building cases against rioters. A source involved in the collection effort said this is now the scene of the crime. Unbelievable. You can stop the video and read the rest of the article, but I thought this was very interesting. In a letter sent 2 days after the riot to 11 major cell phone and internet companies, including AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, Apple, and Facebook, Senator Mark Warner, oh yeah, he's a real bipartisan guy, Democrat Virginia, urged the companies to immediately preserve and content and associated metadata connected to the riot. Some of the telecommunication providers question whether Warner has the authority to make such a request. He doesn't. A single senator doesn't have the authority to do that. But a number of them appear to have been preserving data from the event anyway because of the large scale of the violence. 5 people were killed. I know it sucks. It really is. But we go through the reality of it all. 10 to 20 times that were killed in the rioting over this summer. And I'll give you Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia's response to all the deaths this summer during the rioting. Well, thank you, Senator Warner, for that in-depth analysis. This is bad, folks. The FBI declined to comment, and any specific investigative tools is using, well, of course. You can go through the rest of the article here, but boy, I'll tell you, received more than 200,000 tips to date from the public in response to requests for help in identifying rioters. There were less than 1,000 people there. If you were outside the Capitol building, in fact, two of the people that died, the gentleman, one had a stroke, one had a heart attack, they were outside the building. One was talking to his wife on his cell phone. One was trampled by the crowd. It really sucked. It was a young woman. The poor Air Force veteran, the woman there, she just loved the president. The window was already smashed and everything, and people were climbing in. She just climbed in with them. I mean, she's no insurrectionist. She was shot in the neck by a law enforcement officer that panicked and pulled the trigger. I don't blame the law enforcement officer. People all over the place, adrenaline's pumping, bad things happen. And the fifth death was the poor law enforcement officer, I believe his name was Sicknick, which they reported and lied and said he was bashed over the head with a fire extinguisher and later died. Come to find out, he texted his brother that night and said besides some pepper spray and maybe bear spray, he was fine. A day and a half later, he died. They've yet to release the autopsy, and his body was cremated right away so the Democrats can put his body on display in the rotunda to show the insurrection, and Trump should go to jail. This is like a bad movie. What I'm telling you, folks, are they going to start arresting Republican members of Congress? They're starting to go after Donald Trump. Now the Supreme Court says they can have his tax returns. Now they're going after Donald Trump Jr. Oh my God, if the FBI or any other law enforcement agency arrests a Republican Congress member, they will be held to pay. There was no coordination. It was several hundred people, up to 1,000, that just got stupid, instigated by 4 or 5 dozen. That's as simple as that. Adrenaline's pumping. And if you see some of the videos, some of the law enforcement are letting them through the barricades. There's one video of the, what do they call him, the guy with the Viking horns on and in the war paint and the tattoos, wearing furs, walks into the House of Representative chambers and goes, F&A, we got some patriots here. And the security guard says to him, I run a cop, not a real cop. Oh, come on, guys, don't wreck the place, please. This place is sacrosanct of our government. And he says, don't worry, dude, we're not going to wreck anything. And they didn't. Did you notice an hour and a half later, the Senate and the House of Representatives was back in dual session, and all the desks were all intact. All the flags were up. None of the statues got smashed. None of the priceless paintings in the rotunda. That says a lot. A few hundred people got stupid. This is not an insurrection. But the Democrats are playing this up just like they did COVID-19. Not that COVID-19 wasn't dangerous, but all the bad things they're doing, they used it as cover. And now they're doing it again. They want to put their political enemies in jail. This is what third world countries do. It's bad, bad, bad. Can you imagine if Donald Trump Jr. or President Trump got arrested? Oh my freaking God, the war would start. These people need to tread carefully, need to tread very carefully. They're walking through a huge minefield, and all it takes is one bad step. Read some American history from 1840 to 1860 to get an idea how this creeps along inch by inch, and then an incident, bang, it goes off. And you know what happened when Lincoln got elected? The biggest tragedy in the history of our country, the American Civil War. Something to think about, folks. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.